Good morning and welcome to TSK F1. My name's Rich and this is your daily dose of F1 news. Sorry if you just got notified that I went live on Twitch. I pressed the wrong button. But here we are. This morning we're going to be talking pretty much exclusively about the whole situation around McLaren. There is some other news, but really it pales in comparison with the news out of McLaren. So I thought I would spend this morning's show going through it, who's involved, what the history is, and why McLaren might have made this choice. And also, I think this is a thing where you guys can share your opinion, what you think, and why McLaren may have done it. So do get involved in the chat, guys. So, as you will have seen, no doubt, on many different outlets, James Key has in fact gone from McLaren as of yesterday. I think it was with immediate effect from what I read that he's gone. Now, James Key was the technical director at McLaren and he is being replaced by 3 people, and we'll get onto that shortly. Now, James Key, his history in Formula One, to me, it doesn't exactly scream success, but maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know. But James Key, the outgoing technical director from McLaren, his history, he started in Jordan years and years ago. I'm not exactly sure when it was. 1998 he started at Jordan, and then he went to Midland, which did that actually become a thing? I'm not sure. Then he was at Spiker, then Force India, then Sauber, then Toro Rosso, and then to McLaren. And for me, his CV didn't scream, I'm going to make this McLaren a successful winning car, you know. Just in my opinion, looking at where he'd been before and what he had done, it always seemed a little bit curious to me. But he did go there highly regarded. Lots of people thought he would have success. Now, there is a poll in the chat, so please do get involved in that and whether you think this is a good move for McLaren. And I'm gonna basically run down who is replacing Mr. Key at McLaren and what the situation is and things like that. So that's James Key. Jordan, Midland, Spiker, Force India, Sauber, Toro Rosso, McLaren. Okay, so just bear that in mind as we move forward. Now, I did put a poll on Twitter, on the Sausage Curb Twitter yesterday, and actually it got loads and loads of replies, as you can see. We got 215 votes. Is this the right move from McLaren? And just over 65% of people said yes. But again, I would love your opinions on this. Now, as I mentioned, James Key is being replaced by 3 people. And I'm going to share my opinion on this after we've introduced the 3 people. So I'm not entirely sure. I've heard his name before, but I don't know how to pronounce it. But I'm going to go ahead and try Peter Prodromou. I'm not sure if that's how you say his name, but he is one of the people that is replacing James Key, and he is going to be the aerodynamics guy. Now, who is Mr. Prodromou? I hear you asking. Well, he is now the technical director aerodynamics at McLaren, but you might be interested to hear that he was actually with McLaren before with Adrian Newey and left with Adrian Newey to go to Red Bull Racing. Now, I know how people regard Adrian Newey, and I think people should just take a moment here, because look at what Aston Martin are doing this season. I've forgotten his name. Dan Fallows at Aston Martin is also has also worked with Adrian Newey, and look at what Aston Martin are doing. And this chap also, back in the day, worked with Adrian Newey. But then in 2014, he rejoined McLaren as a chief engineer, and in 2017 became the chief technical officer responsible for aerodynamics. Now, you'd have to say certain things have gone wrong there, but that he is going to be the new technical director of aerodynamics. That's what they're going to call him. Let me just, yeah, so that's Lando Norris. The next person that's coming in, we already saw news about this. I don't have a picture of him ready, but is David Sanchez, and he's coming to McLaren, or rather coming back to McLaren after a decade at Ferrari. And there he went through quite a few different roles, principal aerodynamicist and chief aerodynamicist, and then started heading up the aerodynamics department in 2019, and then he was promoted to chief engineer vehicle concept, leading the design of the 2022 car. So you've got these two guys that are taking up roles, quite important roles at McLaren, replacing James Key. And then the next one, I can't actually find any details on, is an internal promotion, and that is I'll find his name really quickly, or I'll try to. Neil Hoadley on engineering and design. So you're replacing James Key with three guys. Now, my opinion on this is that one thing I hate in business and in work is mid-management or middle management bloat. I absolutely hate bloat of management where you have too many people, and what's the saying? Too many cooks and all that, you know. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be the case at McLaren, but it's interesting this week how we've been talking about Ferrari and bureaucracy there, and potentially at Mercedes bureaucracy there, and then and how agile Red Bull are. To me, this seems, while you've got some good brains coming in, I can't help but feel that this is sort of a bit much, that you're just adding layers of complexity to the hierarchy. You're going to add bloat to the McLaren business sort of strategy and how they work, and I think it's just going to make them slower to react. Personally, now it could work the other way, where everything works very well and it works better. But I always think when it's just another funnel of information, isn't it? It's just another what's the bottleneck? It's just another bottleneck when you've got so many people involved. And when you're trying to get design decisions made, how quickly can it get sorted? Did they try this in 2018? I don't know, Chris. I do remember Mercedes having a similar structure with Toto Wolff, Ross Brawn, and the genius, what's his name, who then went to Williams, and he's coming back with his synthetic fuels, Paddy Lowe. And Mercedes got rid of this structure because it was too much, and they said it was too much, that you need a figurehead, and that ended up being Toto Wolff. And I don't know, I agree with the people that they've got coming in, but to me, taking one job and making it three people's jobs, you're just adding layers of, frankly, nonsense. Now, I don't know how many of you have worked in situations where there's just middle management for everything. There's a manager here, there's a manager there, and you have to get clearance from them to do anything. I worry that this will be the problem for McLaren beyond this, because you've got to go through now, instead of one person, you've got to go through three to get approval. But maybe that's a good thing. I don't know anything about the internal how things have been going internally at McLaren. It just doesn't strike me as all of that much of a great idea. And Lando Norris has tweeted about this as well. He said, from changes to major infrastructure upgrades, every single one of us is working flat out to get McLaren back to the top. See you soon, Straya. Now, I did wonder as well. Organisational changes need to happen for sure. Something needed to change at McLaren, didn't it? I mean, clearly this season has started out as a disaster. But I wonder as well, thinking about the Lando Norris angle, they've got him until the end of 2025, and McLaren really believe in Lando Norris, and they've just got Oscar Piastri. I wonder if there was any pressure from the Lando Norris side to get things done. Now, is he that kind of guy? I don't know. Because, we've got stories that have come out about Charles Leclerc going directly to the CEO of Ferrari to sort of help Binotto out of the door. Did I just say that right? Leclerc going to the CEO of Ferrari to get Binotto out the door. Is Lando Norris that type of person who goes to Zach Brown and says, look, you need to sort it, otherwise I will be going? Because I have seen, and I'm not reporting on it yet, but I'm seeing more and more rumours about Lando Norris to Mercedes and Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari. And I'm seeing that more and more and more. Now, I don't know the truth of it, and that's why I'm not reporting it, because it's just a rumour. But is Lando Norris the type of guy? What do we think? Is he the type of guy to have gone in and said, look, Zach, get it together. This isn't good enough. I don't know. He doesn't strike. I don't know if he is that kind of person. But then, could those dominoes fall into place? Have Mercedes said to Lando Norris something? Who knows? Has Lewis Hamilton been speaking to Ferrari? I don't know. But all those rumours, honestly, on all the news sites I go on, I'm seeing it more and more. Now, I dismissed it. I have dismissed it because I don't like rumour that could come, just rumour based on nothing that is rumour. But maybe McLaren, as well as starting the season incorrectly, have also had that pressure from Lando Norris, and maybe he's literally said, what I think as well is possible. And I would be shocked if not. So Lando Norris signed a deal for 4 years, didn't he? And it ends at the end of 2025. I would be shocked if he doesn't have a get-out clause. I would think his contract has clauses in it that say that McLaren must be in the top 4 or something for his contract to still be valid, or that if McLaren drop out of the top 4, then he doesn't need to buy himself out of his contract, or a team he goes to don't have to buy him out of his contract, or something like that. I'd be really surprised if he hasn't covered his back in that way, because it would be one hell of a deal to sign up for 4 years without any safety net, shall we say. And I feel like more and more, until Lewis Hamilton signs a deal, we're going to see Lewis Hamilton to Ferrari and Lando Norris to Mercedes more and more. It's coming up everywhere. This is just bigger news, isn't it? The Hamilton to Ferrari I can't buy into, simply because he's leaving Mercedes being frustrated by performance and not challenging at the front. He's just going sideways. The only reason I would put some weight in it, Nick, is because Ferrari is different to every other team on the grid, isn't it? We all know it is. And I said it probably 3 years ago that Lewis Hamilton's career, the only thing his career lacks is a stint at Ferrari. And to me, even if he didn't win, Lewis Hamilton in a Ferrari to end his career makes sense. Even if he's been a Mercedes driver all his life, all of the great drivers have a stint at Ferrari. And that's all. I know that's really sort of romanticizing it. I get that you're looking at it from a purely objective view, and I agree. I do agree. It's a sideways move. But maybe Lewis Hamilton's looking at it and he's just like, you know what? I could go to Ferrari and I could do that. And he'd get paid. God, can you imagine how much money Ferrari would pay Lewis Hamilton to go there? I'm sure they would, and I'm sure it would be a sickening amount of money to go there, even on a 1 or 2 year deal. You know, I think it would be insane. But would he do that? I don't know. And is this the delay? I don't know. For Ferrari, it would be a groundbreaking deal to sign Hamilton for many diversity, cultural reasons. Very good PR on top of the talent. Agreed, John. And apparently, apparently things aren't getting any better with Leclerc behind the scenes. Again, this is all just rumour, and like all I can say is every morning I read so many news articles, and again, quite a few are saying that things aren't good at all behind the scenes at Ferrari. Be that with Leclerc, be that with staff changes, be that with people straight up resigning and leaving. You know, could you see where would Leclerc go? Don't know, because the talk is firmly Lando Norris McLaren, Lewis Hamilton Ferrari, and no other suggestion there is being put forward. Now, would it be Sainz or would it be Leclerc that were out? Don't know. But again, all I can bring to you is those stories. Are they just being controversial for the sake of it? I don't know. I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibilities. It'd be a bit crazy, but I think I romanticised this idea for many years, just kind of career fulfillment thing. I think Lewis bought a red Ferrari and everyone said it was happening before. Yeah, I remember that happening, John. And you know, think of just drivers past. This is the reason I think it could. Because Schumacher, Vettel, Alonso, I'm sure like Surtees, did Fangio or was he Alfa Romeo? I can't remember. There were tons of drivers you could go through that went through Ferrari, and it's just a thing, isn't it? In recent history to, you know, and again, it doesn't matter if this is the thing I think we can't understand as fans fully, but you can say it with quite a lot of confidence. We cannot understand the draw of Ferrari from... Yeah, Mansell went. We can't understand the draw of Ferrari. But what I can say with a lot of confidence is, unlike any other team, Ferrari could be a midfield team. But when Ferrari come knocking at your door, you listen. And that has been... Like, so many drivers have said that. So many drivers, like these days there's so many podcasts and things from ex-drivers that it really didn't matter where they were driving. When Ferrari came in and said, we want you, it tended to happen, you know. And that's all I can say on that as well. And is I suppose the question is, and I know we're going roundabouts here, but this is to do with potentially McLaren losing Lando Norris eventually, isn't it? I suppose the question which sets all of that off is Lewis Hamilton at a stage of frustration that he would leave Mercedes? That's the question. If one does leave Ferrari, whoever it replaces Perez at Red Bull. Can't put my finger on why, just a gut feeling. Well, I think it's because things aren't good at Red Bull either behind the scenes, are they? You know, And Carlos Sainz has got links there, hasn't he? So you could see that happening as well. But McLaren, I suppose, back to the main point. I've kind of digressed because thankfully we got some chat eventually. I was a bit worried there for about 15 minutes that no one was going to chat and I was going to finish the show in about 18 minutes. But McLaren, I think the people that they've got coming in are better than James Key going out. And that's just looking at like CVs and the history. I worry that it's added layers of red tape and bureaucracy that isn't required in Formula One. That's my big problem with it. I'm really worried that they've just added layers of extra meetings, of extra approvals, of extra just nonsense that F1 has no place for, in my opinion. My management style is very different to what they've just deployed. I would be as lean as possible with the chain of command being as effective and efficient straight up as possible, so that key decision points were literally a few people owning it, trusting in the team that you've got below you and going for it. Because I feel like that's the way Red Bull work, and I honestly feel like that's one of the reasons they're successful. And I feel like it's also one of the reasons why Mercedes are struggling at the moment, because everything is by committee rather than, like you have like who's the guy at Red Bull, and everyone's going to say Adrian Newey. There should be that brain that is the overall yes or no person, and it should be efficient. And I don't know. I know I'm going on about this point, but I've seen it in my working life, and I'm sure many of you have as well, where you get called into a meeting, you sit in the meeting, lots of self-declared important people talk about things, and you come out of the meeting, or you try and finish the meeting early actually, because you're just like, why are we here? Why are we here? We're just talking nonsense and we're not achieving anything here. And I worry that kind of thing is happening at McLaren. And I've thought quite a lot about it. And I know it's a boring take, but I agree with the people. I'm worried that they're all on the same level of management. Does that make sense? But 71%, see, this is the thing, 71% of you guys are saying it's the right move. And like I said yesterday on, where was it there? On Twitter, 65% of people said it was the right move as well. But hopefully, will McLaren get into the position they should be in after this? I'm hopeful. They're really good people. I think Sanchez, coming from Ferrari, if you consider he's the if you think, okay, it's not Red Bull beating, but Sanchez is starting on the 1st of January next year. He is the guy behind the current concept of Ferrari. And you could say, well, it's not beating the Red Bulls. Look at where the McLaren is. Look at where the McLaren is. And then, it's a good thing. Well, I mean, Brett, it definitely can get worse. It definitely can get worse, mate. It definitely can. Seems most workplaces nowadays are full of middle management, which actually complicated procedure and progress. Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing I worry about with McLaren. I really do. But there we are. That was the news. And like I say, if you missed the beginning of this stream, guys, I did give you the sort of history of each of the appointments. I gave you James Key's history, because I don't know why we seem to get an influx of people about 10 minutes in. I wonder if the notification was late going out or something, because everyone seemed to come in at about 10 past or something, which was odd. You discuss things too much and you start to overthink it. Me, or if there's loads of middle management? I don't know whether you're on about me or the structure. But yeah, I gave everyone like a history of each of the appointments, so you might want to go back once I've finished the stream and have a look at like the first 10 minutes. Dan, behave, get out. Yeah, the problem was I went live on Twitch. You talk too much. Oh, well, I guess I need to give up my job. The Twitch notification was just a sleepiness, and I pressed the wrong button and went live on Twitch, picked my nose and realised that I was live on YouTube. I was live on Twitch, not YouTube. So someone might have got me just being like, just sit there and look at the camera. There you go. But yeah, if you don't know about, again, I don't know how to pronounce his name and I don't want to disrespect the chat, but if you want to know about Peter Prodromou or David Sanchez, then please check out the beginning of the stream. And I couldn't find anything, like I say, about the other chap, the Neil Hoodley, because he was an internal promotion and he's not a known name. Yeah, intros aren't a thing these days. Like I'm not doing intros because the reason why I wouldn't do an intro is because it goes to a video on demand, and I don't want to do an intro for people who watch it after I'm live, because then you've got 5 minutes of intro, and trust me, people won't click on the next chapter, they'll just click on the next video. So I'm not doing an intro. Just 9 o'clock, Monday to Friday. Bosh. But there we are. That is the news this morning. I'll be live over on Pit Lanes very, very shortly with some more iRacing, I think. And then I'll be live here on Monday morning. I might try and get some content out, but I don't think I'm going to have any time to. But I'll be live here Monday morning with the TSK F1 show. So if you're going to join me on Twitch, it's Pit Lanes over there. If not, I'll see you on Monday. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.